Alright guys, let's get started with today's Opus 11 set review, and today I've chosen Fire, as you can see. A lot of interesting cards, so I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get straight to it. First of all, I have the legendaries here, as well as Ku Chaspel, Shadow. When Shadow enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add one backup among them to your hand, and return other cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. Then you may play one backup of cost 2 or less from your hand on the field. That effect alone is very strong. It is a fantastic turn 2 play. Being able, assuming you hit it right, like if you miss the backup, then whatever. But if you already have a backup, that's fine too. So you don't have to hit a backup to play a backup. So that's very good. And then Shadow, Shadow Fang, choose a forward, deal it 10,000 damage. You can only use the ability if you have received a point of damage this turn. A little bit of a setback, but not too bad. I just think that overall as a card for a legendary, it's very strong. It doesn't hold up much, but it is 6, which gives it a very good archetype to live in, because for an effect like that anyway, it's very good to live in. They have a lot of cards. 6 has one of the most prominent engines that we're familiar with. So next is Braska's Final Aeon. Probably one of I think everyone's favorite card from this set. When Braska's Final Aeon attacks or is chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities, choose a forward your opponent controls, deal it 10,000. This damage cannot be reduced. We'll talk about that in a sec. Discard Braska's Final Aeon, choose a forward, deal it 10,000 damage. You can only use the ability if you control 2 or more job summoner forwards, and if Braska's Final Aeon is in your hand. So it is a hand trap, as well as a very powerful and annoying forward to deal with. Mono fire decks, summoner decks. I think just having this locked and loaded keeps everything from being safe anymore. When you see any of those combinations of fires or summoners or anything like that, please expect this card to hit you. So either keep your guys above 10k, or just in a safe space, or can't be targeted would be great. So yeah, very strong card. Kind of redefining how damage is dealt right now. And speaking about redefining damage, Ku Chaspel, or Ku Chaspel, however you guys want to pronounce it, 2-drop FFCC backup, Masked Man, tap damage dealt to forwards. Opponent controls cannot be reduced this turn. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen. If you haven't, there was an errata on all cards that say do not take damage, or damage under the opponent's power becomes 0, etc., etc. All of those have been changed to reduce the damage to 0. And it's kind of a card. I wanted to talk about it because this card kind of brought a whole new mechanic to the game, or it kind of reworked the mechanic to the game, right? As we knew it. So yeah, it's worthy of putting it on here, because we have to now reconsider how we play damage cards and how cards like that read. I hope they do come out with an amended version of those cards, like a visual version of those cards, so we can see it. If not, maybe someone will create it. But cards that kind of focus, that kind of make us redesign the game, kind of like how Wool did. Wool originally said, no EX bursts. It kind of took a rule out of the game, right? And so this kind of did the same thing, right? It changed what we knew, and it put us this new place in hand, this new rule in hand, and now we have to adjust to that. But this is all, on the other hand, though, this is also something Fire needed, right? Something that, all their damage and stuff can't be reduced in this case. And so now, there's no need, there shouldn't be a need, right? To ban cards like Minwu or whatever, right? Because that's never going to happen. And as far as effectiveness goes, that's another talk for another video. So we can go on here. The next ones in this Fire one are the H's and the starter. This FFTA archetype is getting stronger every set. I feel like there's always little shining pieces of this, and this is one of them. If you control 2 or more category FFTA characters, the cost of playing Marsh on the field is reduced by 2, making him a 3. When Marsh enters the field, choose a category FFTA 2 character with cost 3 or less in your break zone, play it on the field. So effectively 6 cost value if you already control 3 forwards, Again, one of the things I was mentioning is that one of the things I like to talk about is that this game is moving is at a very fast pace in terms of board control. So things are becoming more important in terms of both speed and removal. And Marsh is going to provide that for an FFTA2 deck, which allows us to play multiple forwards in one turn, put pressure on your opponent, and also create like value, right? Because we can pay a 5-drop for 3, and have something else come out for 3 that might do something that further pushes our agenda. So Marsh does that very well. I'm curious to see what people come out with this. Zidane, 2-cost thief. It's interesting to see Zidane in fire now. Haste, when Zidane deals damage to your opponent, choose a forward your opponent controls, deal 8,000 damage. That is absurd. I think this card is dumb and nuts. Talking about the fire water deck that came out with Gilgamesh, just being able to reborn this with Gilgamesh, and like if he does get his attack off, then it's just like attack with Gilgamesh, reborn this, Gilgamesh resolves, this comes out, attacks, and then deals 8k, assuming there's nothing in the way. Just being able to have him threaten stuff like that on the fly for fire is really strong. Also, fire doesn't have a lot of innate haste, so this is very nice for them. But just low cost 9 cards, I love it. And then Red 13, I'm glad we can play him in the card game because we couldn't play him in the remake. Sorry, spoilers. If you control a category 7/4 other than Red 13 gains 1,000 power, haste, and first strike. Very strong, simple card. But I played against it, and I know enough about it to know that it deserves a spot here on my fire review list. It's just great value, right? Ideally you never play it in anything else other than 7. So this is a 4-drop 9k with haste and first strike. Very strong, very simple, but it's worth it. Now these next couple cards, they are going to kind of like work in tandem a little bit. Like I put Moody and Ifrit here. When Moody enters the field, you may search for 1 fire summon and add it to your hand. When you cast a card named Bahamut, activate Moody, right? So like Moody like effectively with the Bahamut helps you keep playing summons. So if you have stuff like the Ifrit here, which is 1 drop 5k, if your opponent receives 5 points of damage, deal 8k, kind of helps facilitate that, like just deal extra damage and stuff. So I wish it was all fire cards, but Bahamut is good enough too. There's enough Bahamuts for us to play around with this. And then Bomb was one of my cards I reviewed for the community spoilers. And when a fire character, it's the new one where you play counters on it. For free, it deals 4k, and for 3 counters, it deals 10k. I think for 10k for 1 drop is just good. Having fire have access to something like this quicker in a mono fire deck is going to be very strong. I think these are going to wrap up the last ones that I think we'll see play here in fire as well. So thanks for listening, guys. What are you doing with fire at the moment? How many of these have you used? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know.